Alright, what is up my homies, and welcome to Day 2 Gray Gaming. Today on another episode of the Commonwealth Contractor, we are finishing our series on fixing our Starlight Drive-in tower. We left off our last episode with two completely empty decks at levels 5 and 6, our shooting range now moved to the basement, and our lounge now moved onto the recreation deck where it's more at home. So now it's time to move our Overseer suite and our sky deck down 2 levels and scrap everything above. But we're not just going to do a cut and paste here. So sit down and buckle up as we intend to not only relocate but also improve our two most fascinating portions of our tower build. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. The Overseer suite isn't going to see too much of a difference, but the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pull our catwalks down and make sure that we have the same wraparound decking that we were able to create for our power armor display deck, making sure that we snap our floors to floors rather than floors to walls and move our guardrails accordingly. We're once again going to be controlling access to the Overseer suite with a powered door, but this time we're going to be using an XOR logic gate. This way we can control access from both sides, being able to open and close from either direction. The bedrooms and lavatory are going to remain pretty much unchanged from an architectural point of view, so we won't focus too much attention on creating and working with them. Instead, we're going to focus more of our attention on the personal collection room, as this was sort of the main draw of attention for our last Overseer suite. We're going to go ahead and create quite a bit larger of a collection room than the one we had before, mostly because it's a little ostentatious of us to keep our power armor collection in the middle of our living room. With this Overseer suite, we're actually going to display our power armor collection in our, get this, personal collection room. Of course, we're going to keep all of our other collections that we had at the other Overseer suite. We're just going to make sure everything is much more compact, moving all of our power armor and power armor display stands here. Adding in some solid walls so we have a better place to display our weapons. Taking a short break from our personal collection room, we are going to go ahead and build a workshop very similar to the one that we had at the other Overseer suite. However, this one is going to contain a little bit of an enhancement. We're going to have not one, but 3 power armor workstations. This way we can use this as a staging area for power armor suits that we are currently piecing together so that we're not just leaving them in the middle of our living room. Continuing to move our weapons collection down. If you remember from part 1, Curie is currently serving as Chief of Security, but she's a scientist, not a security operative, so we're going to go ahead and give her a laboratory complete with terminal, databases, Nixie tubes, chemistry stations, and this spinny glowy thing. Ooh. And now we have a place for our dear friend Curie to call her own. We're just about ready to get going on the sky deck, but there's one more addition we wanted to add. We currently do not have a kitchen in the Overseer suite, so we figured it would be nice to add a private kitchen and dining area. Add in some lighting, of course. And some potted plants around the Overseer suite. Now it's time to take a look at the sky deck. As impressive as it is, the sky deck does have a lot of room for improvement, so we're pretty much just going to store everything and move it to the deck above the Overseer suite. Our artillery battery is going to be more or less the same as the one we had before, a little bit more compact, but nothing major. We're even going to include the firework mortars. We're going to add a greenhouse so that we have a longer build season than we did with just a standard rooftop garden. Adding our crops back in. We're also going to add some grow lights, as well as an artificial sprinkler system. Now this is just electrical conduit, but once it's all done, it does tend to look a little bit like a sprinkler system. Next up, we're going to add a rooftop bar. Add in some posts so that this isn't just a floating rooftop. And we're going to go a little bit more tiki bar style than what we currently have at the Starlight Cafe down on our main deck. Add in some seating under our awning. And of course, we need our handy dandy street lights so that everyone can see day or night. Next up, we're going to add an outdoor amphitheater so that our overseer can address the entire population in a public event or host things like outdoor plays. Add some seating. And a covering just in case it starts raining. Some studio lighting. And finally, we'll add some neon lighting and plants to liven things up, and the sky deck is pretty much done. Some other minor improvements were to remove some of our unnecessarily high number of turrets in order to reduce the number of moving objects, which should increase our frame rate slightly. We're also going to relocate the Western Provisioner Hub to Grey Garden, reducing the number of provisioners who will be visiting here at any given time. Some other minor changes that I didn't film were to reduce the size of our 5 lavatories here on the residence deck, and using that space to add 5 smaller accommodation rooms, which will increase the population that this settlement is capable of supporting. And there you have it, folks. That is fixing our Starlight Drive-in. We eliminated 2 unnecessary decks, removed dozens of unnecessary NPCs and moving objects, and just overall did a much better job about decorating and making effective use of the space available. Stay tuned for Settlement Builds for Noobs when we give a complete walkthrough of our newly renovated Starlight Tower. Thank you for watching and have a good day.